Hey guys, my name is Hab, and this is sort of an impressions video on the WZ-111 5A, a tier 10 Chinese collector heavy tank. You probably know my stances on collector vehicles. They shouldn't be sold in crates and something like that. Collector vehicles shouldn't even exist, at least that high in the tiers. Anyways, I got this just from one random mysterious certificate that I received from one of them mystery boxes, and honestly I would tell you to steer clear of those. If you don't get anything from the 13, don't even bother at that point, otherwise you might end up like one of my clan members who burned a whole lot of gold to get a whole lot of nothing. I got this. I'm perfectly satisfied with what I have received, and now after a few battles, I think less than 25, yeah, less than 25 basically, 28, I am prepared to tell you about what I think of the tank. And since I also have the tier 9, I'm gonna pop the folded Chinese, the WZ-111 I'm still not done with it, I can tell you for a certain that the tier 10, in my opinion, is much better than the tier 9. And you might disagree with that, and fair enough, I understand that. Some people think the 5A is pretty bad. I honestly wouldn't recommend it to many people, because it is just a relatively underpowered heavy tank. It's nothing outstanding. But what it also is basically a Chinese IS-7 with better mobility and basically the same gun. And honestly, to the IS-7, I prefer this a whole lot more. Now let's take a quick look at what the tank is in statistics. 300mm of frontal turret armor. That is a huge value. That is a huge value, but you may have noticed those cupolas. Those cupolas are pretty big. They're not gonna bounce anything. No, just no. You're gonna be lucky if some people will aim at the turret face instead. Then the back of the turret is incredibly weak. The area that I'm zooming on about is around 65mm or so. You can pop a HE into that and just deal full damage without a hitch. But other than that, the turret is actually pretty decent. The hull is where I would actually draw similarities with the 111-14 and the IS-7. The 111-14, a tier lower, has only 20mm less frontal armor, and that's about it. Now some people say that that's just pretty good, right? And well, the 111-14 technically has a good hull, but if you look at it, it's a pike nose. It's a pike nose. You won't be able to angle it in front of a tank without immediately making it weaker. It's a technical pike nose now that I think about it, because you have this massive lower plate that's actually perfectly straight, and then when we get to stuff like the IS-7, that has a proper pike. That has a proper pike. This is a pseudo pike. Just a pseudo pike. Nothing extremely special. And on the 111-14, you have a huge lower plate that you still have on the 5A, because they're basically the same tank, except slightly overworked. And I would honestly still say that the 5A has a better hull. It is 20mm higher, yes, but if you look at it from the side, the angle is not too bad. So in the upper plate area, you can get anywhere from 260 to almost 300mm of effective armor. With this thing, it's something around 230, 240 to 270 or so. It's not gonna be amazing. It may bounce something. The lower plates, of course, hide those. The 5A doesn't have an outstanding lower plate, but it's still something over the 200 mark, I'm pretty sure. The sides on the 5A, I'd say, are just downright better than the 1-4s, because I'm not sure if the 1-4 has any spaced armor on its side. The 5A seems to have something at least nearing that. I haven't bothered checking the Blitz profile. You can see how Blitz hanger profile, sorry. You can see that I haven't bothered looking around in that, because I am just that lazy and I made this video without a script at all. You look at these sides and you think, wow, they look pretty funky. They may bounce something, you would be right. They do bounce a lot. They do bounce a lot, that's all I'm gonna say about those. The rear is just weak. Because the Chinese apparently had proper priorities with making a heavy tank that shouldn't be armored absolutely everywhere, like the E-100. So I'm not gonna bother talking about the E-100 and its 150 millimeters of rear armor. But basically the rear of the tank can be easily penable with HE. The frontal armor, you might want to consider loading the gold. Now the gun is very similar to the 111-114's gun, but there are still some rather stark differences. This is the 59-130T gun, yeah, 130mm. That's a very respectable caliber, very nice alpha. Still decent accuracy even at this crew level. 0.387 isn't horrible. Once you get to the top, 0.362 is actually pretty good, along with the aim time. That's not horrible for a 130 at least. The reload is somewhere around the same mark, but where there is a difference is the penetration, and this is a pretty important one. 246 AP, 320 heat, 65 HE. Remember the heat, because that's gonna be quite important. The 111-114 A-tier lower has better premium ammo pen than the 5A. The 5A, that's why I ran it with calibrated shells, is, oh jeez, it's 260 AP, that's a nice value, somewhere around the standard. 303 heat, which is 17mm less, and the same high explosive pen. But in exchange for that, you get a decent reload time, decent accuracy, decent aim time, and pretty good gun depression for a tank that looks like this. We run calibrated shells on it because the heat with its 300 odd something just isn't gonna be enough for most of the things that you fight. Imagine that you're fighting a VK-72 and you can't go around him. Your only choice is to load gold and pen him in the lower plate. Well, without those calibrated shells, that's gonna be a problem because you're gonna only have those 303mm. That will be enough to pen it, but if he's gonna be shuffling around, it's gonna be very awkward and you may actually mess up your shot. With this, you have good AP, decent heat. It's not gonna be outstanding, but it's gonna be enough for most of the things that you fight. And then you also have 72 high explosive, which is gonna be good for some Americans and maybe some medium sides as well. Other than that, the gun's 7 degrees of gun depression is actually why I prefer it to the 111-114, because the 111 only has 5, and that really limits its flexibility, and it can't work that much with its armor. But other than that, I just run them almost the same. I think the only difference, I'm not sure if there even is a difference in ammunition. This is 4D and this is also 4D. I don't know why I'm running it like this. I can just plop. There we go. So my OCD is now gone. But other than that, I run them very similarly except the calibrated shells. Now, equipment-wise, what I use on the 5A is calibrated shells, of course. The defense system, because it tends to lose its crew pretty often. Then the improved optics, enhanced gun length drive, enhanced armor. Although the argument for improved assembly is much better, I just feel more secure with the enhanced armor. Engine accelerator, and the vertical stabilizer. Now, why the engine accelerator? You might think that a tank like this would have a really bad hull traverse. Compared to the IS-7, you get a better hull turn rate, and the turret turn rate, if I recall, is a bit better. I'm not quite sure on that. It is a whole lot better. The IS-7 in my full layout has less than 20 degrees a second on its turret. It's still gonna be enough, but it's not ideal, whereas the 5A has 25, almost 25 degrees. And that's gonna be perfectly fine for most things that you fight. The hull traverse is just slightly better. Now, I don't run the improved control because that's not gonna help me much. It would just be 32 degrees and that's it. I vastly prefer using the engine accelerator, because that's gonna pop your average speed above 30, and you're gonna go decently fast because you also have a pretty good power to weight ratio, surprisingly. Did I also mention that this thing can go 50? Just like the 111, 114 and the IS-7? I would say that if I had to compare these three and say which one is the least mobile and which one is the most mobile, I would say that the 5A is the most mobile. Now this is gonna be... This is not so much of a competition as it is like a very tiny comparison. These things are all similarly mobile to each other, but each one of them has like very slight differences in that. The 5A goes 50, 111, 114 goes 50, the IS-7 goes 50. The 5A will get to that point the fastest, even though it doesn't have the strongest engine, and it will also turn better without losing its speed that much. The 111, 114, it's not bad. It has better whole turn rate, a whole lot better whole turn rate, but the engine, if I recall correctly, isn't that amazing. It's 700 horsepower, whereas the 5A one is 877 with all the bells and whistles. So this thing has like the least engine power, but it's still middle of the pack, pretty good. And the IS-7 is getting the worst, even though that mobility on it is not bad, just because of that whole traverse rate, because that just downright kills all the mobility that you're trying to get when you're going around the corner. Anyways, I think actions speak louder than words, so let's try the 111, 114 and the 5A. Just be aware that the 114 isn't in its full status yet. So this is gonna be live, so you know, it's gonna be very awkward. I'll maybe get 500 damage and die, or I'll get an ace and just say like, oh, it's okay. Anyways, Black Goldville, we're top tier. We're against a bunch of tier 8s. Oh, all of those tier 8s can pen us. Which is kind of worrying, but then again, you're in a 111, 114. This is meant to be played more of like a heavium. Same goes for the 5A, I would say. Nice, has some interesting turning mechanics here, I can see. And we are already loaded. Nice. Not bad. This thing should be played as like a heavium of sorts, mainly because it doesn't have that reliable armor for a heavy tank, and because the mobility allows that. It's how I use it, but the 5 degrees of gun depression is very limiting. You can already see that here, like, ooh boy, how are you gonna hide that massive louver plate? Well, with difficulty, I can tell you that. It doesn't seem like anyone is here, however, which is sort of concerning, because this gun absolutely sucks at long range. I say that and I hardly aim into a Panther and pin anyway. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And you might see these server issues pop up every now and then. Yeah, that's on their end, lads. Get used to it. Welcome to the EU server. I can't get that shot on the E50. I would have to move up. You know, maybe I can get a shot on the T-34 if the servers will stop bugging out, which they really don't want to stop doing. Ooh. Hello. Missed, and he pinned my cupola. Those cupolas are pretty big. Those cupolas are big. We're gonna have to get used to them. And honestly, that's what makes the armor so unreliable. You can't depend on this thing. Sorry, do you mind? Do you mind? No? Okay. Whoa, jeez. Okay. Sir, would you mind? No? Okay, that's good. That's good of you. That's good of you. I appreciate that, man. That's the ammo. That's the ammo. I will be able to get him in time. The PT is dead. PT is dead, and I'll be dead as well, because, well, look at the ping. Look at the ping, it's because I'm sinking into the ground. Yeah, sure, Wargaming, it's fine. Yeah, sure, it's perfectly fine. I'm only supposed to get, what, 20? Like, I was angling, so that just makes the armor a whole lot weaker. And I would really appreciate it if I stopped getting ping spikes this bad, because then I would have maybe been able to show you more of the 1-4. The IS-6 is doing absolutely nothing. That's great of you. The 252U is... well, the 252U did something. There we go, let's speed that up. And we're going back to the garage. So, the 104 plays sort of like a conventional heavium. How does the 5A play? I think you wouldn't be surprised if I told you that it plays almost the same. Except it just performs its chops a little better. That's what I honestly like about it. It's unassuming, it's not overpowered or anything. It's just fine. It isn't the best. It isn't the worst. But it's not gonna be something that everyone will like. You're not gonna be a fan of this tank 9 out of 10 times. You're probably gonna sell it for the gold, which I wouldn't even blame you. 7,500 gold is pretty good. Anyways, let's try to get up with the 30B and the Sheridan. You can already see that I'm going well past 40 now. And we are scooting along. This is like playing a medium, it's so fun. Of course the gun is not like the greatest. I don't think I'll be able to get a shot like this without getting nuked by one of the TDs there. Now, I would appreciate it if one of you pushed me. Oh no, that's the T95, no. And I think there is gonna be a hurry somewhere around here. Yep, that was the hurry. There we go, that's one bounce. Hello. Oh dear. Yeah, that sometimes happens with this thing. Sometimes does. I'm not proud of that. Anyways, let's see what we can do to a T95. Excellent. The alpha is just about the same, but I have a feeling that the 5A just tends to roll higher most of the time. I can't explain it. It's really weird. I did not pen that one, and the Progetto's got me again. And I can't hold back too far, because then I'll get hit by the hurry. Maybe I can snap a shot. Excellent. I finally have a place to hide, so I have to push up on the T95 here before the hurry relocates. There we go. Excellent. And I'm gonna have to rely on the Sheridan whether I like it or not. I'm not exactly capable of spotting right now. I would probably get nuked. Oh hey, there we go. Hello. Well, that's a very nice roll. It plays very similarly to a heavium, is what I'm getting at. I will probably make a proper actual review on it once I get enough battles in it, but that will take time. I'm not sure if I penned that, I really doubt that. Sheridan has to spot him though, because I'll get spotted. Oh boy. Looking forward to this already. That's an E4. I missed the E100. Sure, I will help you, my man. I will help you, my good sir. Just tell me where he is and I will smack him. I think he's somewhere around in this canyon, actually. Yep, there we go. That's him. You could try to lob a missile at him. As long as he still has the time left, but... Ooh, I low rolled. Oh, that's not good. You better hit that. Nice. Good job, man. I'm proud of you. And now we only have the E4 left, so let's smack him. Excellent. You might see that I haven't exactly done a whole lot of damage, and that's just because I kept myself at the back of the map most of the time, to be quite honest. That's practically the only reason. But hey, I may die, may not, but hey, it was all worth it, because we have gotten decent damage. And one other thing that this thing can do above the Model 1-4, it can earn cash. You know, 40k isn't bad for a tier 10, at all means. So, would I recommend the 5A to people? Not really. Is it my guilty pleasure? Yes. That has been it from me. My name is Hab. If you somehow liked this garbage, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you all guys later. Bye-bye.